One snap changed everything. In a packed London stadium, Kendrick Lamar turned a small gesture into a statement so powerful it spread across the world, and weeks later, it came back to haunt Drake on his own stage. The crowd's reaction in London didn't just go viral, it set off a chain of events that would explode during Drake's Wireless Festival set, reigniting one of hip-hop's most heated rivalries. Tonight, we break down how those snaps became the spark that turned a quiet tension into a public storm, and why this feud is only getting bigger. It all began on a humid July night in London, deep into Kendrick Lamar and SZA's Grand National Tour. Fans packed into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium knew they were witnessing something special, but no one expected what happened next to take over the internet. Midway through his set, Kendrick leaned into a series of sharp, deliberate snaps, not just as a rhythm, but as a statement. Each snap cut through the stadium like a warning shot, building a tension that electrified the air. Cameras flew up, social feeds lit up, and within hours, clips from that night were everywhere. What made these snaps different wasn't just the sound, it was the energy behind them. Kendrick's body language, the way he locked eyes with the crowd, the way the music seemed to pause for those moments. It all felt intentional. Fans started dissecting every movement, every gesture, convinced there was a message hidden in plain sight. Was it aimed at someone? Was it a nod to the feud with Drake? Or was it simply Kendrick reminding the world that every detail in his performance matters? The crowd's reaction turned a subtle gesture into a full-blown phenomenon. They weren't just cheering, they were screaming, feeding back energy that Kendrick matched with a ferocity rarely seen in stadium shows. By the end of the night, the snaps weren't just part of a song, they were the moment. As clips went viral across TikTok, X, and Instagram, the narrative began to build. Media outlets picked it up, calling it a masterclass in stagecraft. Hip-hop forums lit up with debates. Was this the spark for something bigger? By the time the tour moved to its next city, the conversation wasn't just about the set list anymore. It was about what those snaps meant. If this kind of breakdown keeps you on the edge, hit that subscribe button now. We're tracking every twist in this story, and when the next move drops, you'll be the first to know. Don't miss the moment everyone will be talking about. Now, the UK has always had a unique relationship with hip-hop, and that connection became crystal clear during Kendrick's July shows. From Glasgow to Cardiff, fans didn't just attend, they participated. British crowds have a reputation for intensity, and in this case, they became part of the performance itself. When Kendrick snapped, the crowd answered with deafening roars, as if they understood the unspoken message behind every gesture. That energy didn't stay in the stadium. It spilled out into the streets, into pubs, into online spaces where fans shared their own videos and reactions. UK audiences are known for taking moments like this and making them bigger than the artist ever intended. They remix them, meme them, and spread them like wildfire. Within 24 hours of the London show, the clips of Kendrick's snaps weren't just trending locally, they were dominating feeds across the globe. The UK press fueled the momentum, publishing headlines that framed the snaps as both mysterious and powerful. Music journalists wrote think pieces, some suggesting that Kendrick had just delivered one of the most culturally resonant performances of the year. What stood out most was how quickly this became more than a performance moment. It became a cultural event. Fans began comparing it to iconic instances in hip-hop history, where subtle gestures carried massive weight. The conversation wasn't just about Kendrick anymore. It was about the way the UK crowd amplified his presence, turning a tour stop into a historic spectacle. That amplification set the stage for everything that followed. By the time the next tour dates rolled in, the snaps had already taken on a life of their own, reshaping how fans and the industry were talking about Kendrick. The energy was rising, and it was about to hit another peak with what came next. While the viral snaps lit the fuse in July, the story's roots run deeper, back to when Not Like Us first shook the industry months earlier. After Kendrick's explosive Super Bowl performance in February 2025, the song climbed straight to the top of the UK singles chart, holding the one spot for 2 consecutive weeks. It was his first ever UK chart topper, a milestone that cemented his dominance not just in the US, but worldwide. This chart success wasn't just about streaming numbers. It reflected a cultural shift. Fans felt the song's weight, its layered message, and the way it pushed against industry norms. But success also brought tension. By May, reports surfaced that Drake had filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group, claiming Not Like Us crossed a line. The lawsuit didn't name Kendrick directly, but everyone understood the connection. Media outlets latched on, dissecting court filings and speculating about what this meant for one of the most talked about feuds in modern hip-hop. Fans debated whether the move was strategic or defensive, and the narrative of rivalry grew louder with each passing day. During this period, Kendrick kept silent publicly, letting the music speak for itself. Drake, on the other hand, responded musically with Gimme a Hug, a track from his February album that many saw as a subtle counter. While neither artist explicitly called the other out, the tension was undeniable, and every lyric was analyzed under a microscope. This mix of chart domination, legal conflict, and lyrical back and forth created a perfect storm leading into the summer. By the time Kendrick arrived in the UK for his grand national tour, the stage was already set for sparks to fly. The viral snaps became the moment where all this tension boiled over, and the next incident would prove it was far from over. We catch the details others skip. If you want the inside track on how this feud is really unfolding, subscribe right now, because when the next big chapter hits, you won't want to be playing catch-up. Now, just weeks after Kendrick's UK snaps dominated headlines, the tension between him and Drake found new life on one of the biggest stages in London, the Wireless Festival. On the weekend of July 11-13, 2025, Drake headlined a 3-night run at Finsbury Park. Fans came expecting hits, but what they got was a moment that reignited the feud. During his set, as the beat dropped between songs, a chant erupted from the crowd. Kendrick! The chant grew louder, echoing across the park. Instead of ignoring it, Drake leaned into the energy, pausing with a smirk and telling the crowd, "Grab me a shot, I'll drink to that." The clip spread across social media like wildfire. Some fans cheered the response as a clever acknowledgement. Others saw it as the first open shot in months. Either way, the moment set the internet ablaze. Music blogs ran headlines declaring the beef was back on. Comment sections filled with debates over whether Drake's reaction was calculated or spontaneous. Even those who weren't following the feud closely found themselves pulled into the drama. What made this incident more explosive was its timing. It came right on the heels of Kendrick's viral performances, making it feel like the two artists were trading blows without ever sharing a stage. The contrast was striking. Kendrick had captivated UK audiences with precision and artistry, while Drake's moment came from the crowd's raw energy and his quick-witted response. Reviews of Drake's Wireless performances were mixed, with some critics calling his shows dramatic but unfocused. Still, no one could deny that the feud's fire had been stoked once again. This wasn't just a chant, it was a public reminder that the rivalry was alive and about to take the conversation to an even higher level. After the Wireless Festival, the feud wasn't just back in headlines, it was everywhere. Social media exploded within minutes of the crowd chant and Drake's response. Clips from the moment flooded TikTok, X, and Instagram, racking up millions of views in hours. Hashtags like Kendrick vs. Drake and Wireless Festival trended globally, pulling even casual listeners into the debate. Every frame of video was analyzed. Some fans slowed down clips, claiming they caught subtle reactions from Drake's team. Others argued the entire thing was orchestrated to keep the narrative alive. Fan theories quickly spiraled into overdrive. Was the chant spontaneous, or was it planted by a section of the crowd? Did Drake's smirk hint at something planned behind the scenes? Was Kendrick's silence in the aftermath part of a bigger play? Every question spawned hundreds of threads, each offering its own interpretation of what was really happening. Media outlets leaned into the frenzy, releasing think pieces about the feud's evolution and speculating on what it meant for the future of hip-hop. What kept the conversation going was the sense that fans were witnessing more than just a performance rivalry. This felt like a cultural moment that blended music, ego, and public perception. People weren't just talking about songs, they were dissecting gestures, set lists, and even the timing of public appearances. For some, it was proof that both artists were pushing hip-hop storytelling to new heights. For others, it was simply great drama they couldn't look away from. The narrative grew louder by the day. Kendrick remained quiet, fueling speculation with every non-response. Drake continued his tour, adding fuel with subtle comments and setlist choices. Online, the tension only grew, setting the perfect stage for what fans believe is the next big chapter in this battle. With the Wireless Festival still fresh in fans' minds, the question on everyone's lips is simple: what happens now? Both artists have positioned themselves like chess players, making moves that seem calculated yet unpredictable. Kendrick, as always, has chosen silence as his weapon. He hasn't commented, hasn't addressed the chants, and hasn't dropped a new track. And that silence is deafening. Fans interpret it as confidence, a sign that he's waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Drake, on the other hand, continues to stay visible. His Some Special Shows for You European tour kicked off right after Wireless, giving him more opportunities to control the narrative. Each performance is under a microscope. Every word, every pause, every crowd interaction is analyzed for subliminals. Fans clip moments where he seems to reference the feud, debating whether he's escalating or simply playing to the energy. Industry insiders hint that this tension might lead to something bigger, maybe another diss track, maybe a surprise feature, or perhaps an even more dramatic public moment. Media outlets are keeping the feud front and center, knowing that every headline fuels engagement. The stakes feel higher than they've been in years. What's certain is that this isn't over. The viral snaps that sparked the fire have evolved into a full-blown cultural moment, and the feud is no longer just about two artists. It's about the audiences, the media, and the future of hip-hop itself. Whether the next chapter comes in the form of a lyric, a performance, or something entirely unexpected, fans are watching closely. One thing is clear, the story is still being written, and when the next move comes, it's going to hit just as hard as the moment that started it all. As August begins, the tension between Kendrick Lamar and Drake sits at a boiling point. The UK snaps, the chart victories, the lawsuit, and the Wireless Festival moment have all layered into one of the most compelling rivalries hip-hop has seen in years. But what's next? That's the question driving fan conversations, media speculation, and industry whispers alike. For Kendrick, the path forward is unpredictable. His history shows he prefers to let the music and performance speak louder than any interview or social media post. This leaves room for anticipation. Will he respond with a song, a verse, or an unexpected live moment during the remaining dates of his grand national tour? Or will he continue to play the long game, letting the silence itself hold power? Fans are bracing for either scenario, knowing that whatever Kendrick does next, it will carry weight. Drake's strategy, meanwhile, is unfolding in real time. His ongoing Some Special Shows for You tour is packed with moments that keep the audience guessing. Each night presents the possibility of a new reaction, a new subliminal, or even a bold lyrical move. For Drake, staying present keeps the narrative alive, ensuring he controls at least part of the spotlight. What makes this feud unique is how much it has transcended music. It's become a cultural chess match where every move or lack thereof matters. Fans aren't just waiting for diss tracks, they're watching for symbolism, crowd energy, and the next viral clip that will flood their feeds. As the summer rolls on, the stakes only grow higher. The UK snaps may have been the spark, but this story is still unfolding. When the next chapter drops, it won't just be another headline, it'll be another moment that shapes the future of hip-hop's most talked about rivalry. The feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has become more than a back and forth between two rap giants. It's a saga that's redefining how hip-hop rivalries unfold in the modern era. What started with a few perfectly timed snaps in a UK stadium has evolved into a cultural moment that blends music, performance, and fan energy into something bigger than either artist alone. Each new development, from the viral clips to the Wireless Festival chants, has added fuel to the fire, keeping fans locked in and the industry on edge. Right now, the story is still being written. Both artists are playing their cards carefully, and every move they make has the potential to shift the balance. Whether it's a diss track, a surprise appearance, or a performance that breaks the internet all over again, the next move could come at any time. One thing's for sure, when it happens, the world will be watching. If you've been following this saga as closely as we have, you know this is far from over. So stay tuned because the next chapter might drop sooner than anyone expects. What do you think Kendrick's next move will be? And how will Drake answer? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update when this story takes its next twist. Trust me, you're going to want to be here when it does.